With Episode 9 bringing a return of some of our favorite legacy and sequel trilogy characters, we also have 8 new characters coming into play here for this movie. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that's really great about both J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio is that they will be using a lot of prequel trilogy continuity as a way to tie in one trilogy to the other, as well as original trilogy content. So, this movie has a lot of things going for it, and that's one reason as to why a lot of people are saying that maybe it's best for this movie to be split into 2 parts. But anyways, I digress. Let's get into the big subject for today, and all has to do with Emperor Palpatine. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, specifically when it comes to some of the set designs, the set leaks, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with the description of a figure in the shadows of a corridor, similar to the one on Bespin as seen in Empire Strikes Back. The figure is in a black robe holding a lightsaber very similar, if not the same, as Palpatine's from Revenge of the Sith. The next goes over a close-up description of the figure, a young man with a hood over his head with yellow eyes, with his hand showing tiny sparks of lightning protruding from each finger. The man looks to be in his 20s to 30s and seems to be a young Palpatine. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this lines directly up with that huge rumor just a couple of days ago about Matt Smith portraying a younger version of the iconic character Emperor Palpatine from both the prequels and the originals. Now, what would be the real reason as to why we would even have a young Palpatine in Episode 9? Now, there are tons of possibilities here. Now, one can be that he's a clone. The second is that maybe he's actually going to be in the form of flashbacks or visions for either Kylo Ren and or Rey. It could be that Rey is somehow related to him, or maybe that Palpatine created her on Jakku. Again, there's a big connection between the planet Jakku and Emperor Palpatine, so I could definitely see why JJ and Chris Terrio are really trying to implement this character into this movie. We'll have to wait and see. As far as Matt Smith portraying the character, as we heard just a couple of days ago, nothing completely confirmed as of yet, but very interesting for sure. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been saying that he looks more like a young Supreme Leader Snoke rather than a young Emperor Palpatine, and I totally get that. Now, the fact that from this description of this young man in a black robe holding a lightsaber hilt that is very similar to Palpatine's as seen in Revenge of the Sith definitely tells a lot of things here, that this is most definitely Emperor Palpatine in his prime. Now, I think that the fact that his hand and his fingers actually show sparks of lightning from this description, where he's actually able to use Force lightning as we saw in the prequels and the originals, this again points to the fact that it could very well be a young Palpatine in Episode 9. Again, I find it very strange that we heard about Matt Smith portraying the character just a couple of days ago. Now, one thing that I think is so great about bringing Palpatine back into the mix of the sequel trilogy is not just because it's Emperor Palpatine, but it's a different version of Emperor Palpatine. We would be able to see a younger version of himself, either in the form of a flashback, vision, or a clone, if you will. There are tons of possibilities of how to incorporate him into this movie, such as a hologram even. We've been hearing a lot of different descriptions of Emperor Palpatine's involvement in this massive film by Disney and Lucasfilm. We do know that they're going to be having a lot of characters in this movie, the most characters out of every single Star Wars movie to date, and that's another reason, like I said before, as to why people believe that this movie should be split into 2 parts, because I'm not quite sure how they would be able to fit 8 new characters, some legacy characters, and the returning sequel characters as well, into one movie that's going to be 2 hours and change. So with that being said, alright, Palpatine himself, did he know Snoke? We do know that from reading some of the novels and the books out there, that he felt a dark entity from the unknown regions. So they definitely had this mental connection, right? They had that connection there. Kind of similar to how both Luke and Snoke connected according to the Last Jedi novelization. So there's a lot of continuity to go over. There's a lot of lore that can be told in Episode 9 to give the casual fans a better understanding of what's really going on between the whole entire galaxy and the Star Wars universe. So the character of Palpatine, even though, they may do a younger version of this character, I still am hoping that the older version makes it to the final cut of this movie, as we have been hearing about for these past couple of months or so. So let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.